Hello, welcome back to Books with Linda. This is part 2 of my book haul because over September, August I acquired quite a lot of books, either because of my birthday, and these ones were because of the internet, either on eBay really cheap, or I have an online bookshop that I use quite often called BookTopia, and often they have free postage, and a lot of their books they're reduced by like 99% and the book costs like $1. So a lot of the books I got were rather cheap and I just couldn't refuse because they were so cheap. So let's get started. So this first book I have heard lots of great things about by a lot of the other booktubers. This book is called Mrs. Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. The story goes that there's a young boy who has a tragedy occur in his family, and he comes across this island with a deserted, crumbling home where these children who have had these extraordinary abilities used to live. If you can see on the front cover, the girl's actually levitating, so that's pretty fascinating. He finds out there's a possibility that some of these children are still alive. And on the inside, there's quite a lot of vintage photography. They're real photos, and what they've done, if they want to make them look a little bit scary, is they've just edited them a little bit, but most of them are just vintage photos and they look very cool. Next up I have 2 Agatha Christie novels to show you. First of all, I've got Evil Under the Sun. I've seen both the movie and a TV adaptation of this, so it'll be really cool to actually read the book. The storyline goes that Hercule Poirot has been sent off on holidays, and there's this actress on the island, and she's quite young, she's married, she's very flirtatious, and not a lot of people like her, and then one day she turns up dead on the beach. So Hercule Poirot then has to use his little grey cells to figure out who did it. And the next one is Agatha Christie, The Mirror Cracked from Side to Side. Now this is a Miss Marple book. I reckon if she'd lived in a more modern time, she would have just become a female detective. And what happens is they have this famous movie star and her husband move into this old hall. It's like this old big mansion that a really good friend of Miss Marple's used to live in, called Gossington Hall. And what happens is one of the most boring and plain girls in town drops dead for no apparent reason. And it's trying to figure out whether or not she was meant to be killed, or if she drank the drink that was meant for the movie star and the movie star was meant to die. So that one has a few twists and turns in it that you don't see coming, but that's the brilliance of Agatha Christie novels. And next up I have got book 1 and book 2 of the Fisherman's Children books, which are fantasy novels, very intriguing books, cool pictures on the front, and they kind of have a bit of a Lord of the Rings-ish sort of feel to them. Next up, 2 little bargains. All my friends out there that know my husband and I well are going to groan, but I don't care. I've got 2 Doctor Who novels. The first one we have is called The Code of the Krilitanes by Justin Richards. These are interesting creatures. They were in an episode of Doctor Who called School Reunion. They were in this school, and it turned out that all the teachers just about were these funny bat creature aliens. And it was really funny because one of the characters in the show, Rose, used to think that the teachers always slept at school, which isn't the truth. But in this particular case, they did, because they were bats and they slept at school. So that's pretty cool. So that's what they call a quick read. So it's only got something like 200 pages in it. So I reckon that one would be done in an afternoon. And next up we have Magic of the Angels by Jacqueline Rayner. And this has got the Doctor in it and Amy and Rory, who are 2 of my favourite companions. And the Weeping Angels are in this. The Weeping Angels are terrifying. They do not move when people are looking at them. So they always tell you not to blink when they're nearby, or they will try and kill you. And they kill you kindly by sending you back in time. Next, I've got another dystopian. This one's called Eve. And it's after a deadly virus wiped out most of the Earth's population, the world is a pretty terrifying place. 18-year-old Eve has never been beyond the heavily guarded perimeter of her school, where she and 200 other orphaned girls have been promised a bright future in New America. But the night before their graduation, Eve learns the shocking truth about her school's real purpose and the horrifying fate that awaits her. It's really quite fascinating. It's kind of like dystopian, and it's like she's almost like the only woman in the world, and her name is Eve, and it's got like a Genesis sort of feeling to it. So pretty interesting, that one. Next up I have Venom by Fiona Paul. This is historical fiction murder mystery, and I've read a couple of pages of it already. It's set in Venice in, oh my gosh, I don't know what decade. They have big skirts and they have corsets. Anyway, I have this one, and I got this one after I got the one that comes after it, because I realised after I bought Belladonna that it was actually the second book in this series, so I have to read them in order or I'm not going to understand what's happening in this. Next up I've got Fateful by Claudia Gray. This book is historical fiction and a retelling. The story is, this girl is on the Titanic. So, we already know what's going to happen to the ship, but it's being able to sort of put other details into the story, so much as there's werewolves on the Titanic. Oh my gosh. So this book is worth about $20, and I got it off BookTopia for $1. And isn't it gorgeous? It's all like silver and beautiful and pretty, and we have to take a minute to appreciate it because it is so gorgeous. So anyway, I cannot wait to read this because it sounds absolutely fascinating. So I will have to do a review of that one because I love stuff to do with the Titanic. The next two books I have to show to you are, I have 2 copies of each because I accidentally bought 2 copies of this one. It was only $1 though, so no great loss of finances on my part. It was quite amusing opening up the box and finding 2 copies of it, so I managed to find this book at a local discount store quite cheap, which is the first one in the series. So the book series is called The Triad of Being, and the first book is called Being of the Field, and the main protagonist in the story, and she works in different areas from genetics to cells, quantum physics, astrophysics, and she is hired to go and help research as part of a space project where they're going to go investigate ocean planet. So, and this ocean planet has a strange light phenomena. This has what they call a blurring of genres, so it's got a bit of science fiction, and it's also got a bit of fantasy in it. And this is the sequel to this one. I decided that I would get my spare copy and I would do a giveaway. And the person that gets these 2 books given to them, they can also tell me what they think about these books. I will get back to you about the giveaway very soon. So that's my second half of my book haul. Thanks for watching. Probably do some book reviews sometime soon and update on book giveaway very soon. Goodbye! And so it's up to Hercule and his grey black cells.